And I'd just like to welcome each and every one of you tonight. What a wonderful gathering for wonderful reasons, and I think that we should have a lot of fun as we get through this evening. What I'm going to do is ask you to welcome Catherine Shore and Kara Ingram. If you'll come up, please, and they're going to do some musical entertainment to kick this off.
I was blue, just as blue could be.
Every day was a cloudy day for me.
Then good luck came a knocking at my door. Skies were gray, but they're not gray anymore. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing a song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right. Noticing the days hurrying by, when you're in love, my how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies from now on.
I should care if the wind blows east or west.
I should fret if the worst should look like best. I should mind if they say it can't be true. I should smile, that's exactly what I do. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing a song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right. Noticing the days hurrying by, when you're in love, my how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies from now on.
Thank you both very much. Am I going to take a wild stab? Are you music majors at the University of New Mexico?
Yes, we are. We're
I
graduate music students.
I kind of thought that. That's it. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
it very
you.
much. What we're going to do is I'd like to ask you to enjoy your dinner, and then we will start the program during dessert. It's really fun for me to see this group, and there are a number of past presidents of the Alumni Association who are here, and a number of them are the same age I am, but they are 20 years past their presidency, so I'm trying to figure out the age deal here, but it's just wonderful to have so many of you in this wonderful, what a nice, intimate setting this is for us to have tonight. And I think that you make sure you take advantage and take a look at the, we got our new UNM alumni branding, our new logo, and I think that did a terrific job on that. So we'll have a lot more to say a little bit later. Enjoy your dinner, and we'll get everybody back in action here in a little bit. Thank you. I think we'd like to get this started. We've got a whole bunch of fun things coming and a bunch of really interesting people to whom we're going to listen. I'm going to ad-lib a little bit here. Wouldn't be much fun if you had to follow the script exactly. And my mother used to tell me you can't follow directions anyway, so we'll go from there. Some of you in the room may have had her as a teacher, and some of you in the room may have known her. And I'll see if I can speak a little more slowly. How's that? I would like to introduce some special guests that are with us this evening. We're happy to have, we would have been happy to have Chowky, but apparently something came up and Chowky couldn't join us tonight. So we're going to move on, and I know that there had to be something extremely important, because no one has been a better supporter of the Alumni Association of the University of New Mexico than Chowky. As most of you know, he'll be stepping down in about 2 weeks, and when our new president, Dr. Garnett Stokes, joins us. And I think that even though he's not here, you guys can tell him I said this. He's one of the really, really neat people, and we're really lucky here at the University of New Mexico that he's going to simply move back into his provost position, which is really important. He's been nothing but terrifically supportive of us. We have other UNM administrators who are here. Alex Lubin, the assistant provost. And would you stand up and wave at everyone, please? Dana Allen, who's the vice president for alumni relations and the executive director of the Alumni Association. We have Elsa Cole with us tonight, who is the university counsel. Elsa? Well, she may have had to leave. She was here earlier. I know that. Oh, she'll be right back? Well, you know what? When she gets back, wave at me and I'll reintroduce her again. How's that? We have several deans with us tonight. And I'd like Julie Coonrod, Dean of the Graduate Studies. Would you stand up and wave? And then I had to ask him how to say his last name, and when he told me what it meant, I knew how to get it right. But Christos Christodoulou. Would you stand up, please? He is the Dean of Engineering. And did I get it? Was that close? You were perfect. Okay, thank you very much. We have Hector Ochoa, who's the Dean of the College of Education. Thank you very much. And we have Mark Pisani, Dean of Arts and Sciences, where I know you're here. Thank you very much. Thanks, Mark. We have a number of student organizations, and we'd like to just run through these and give you a chance to see some of these. With the Trailblazers. Oh, exactly, the Dean of the Honors College, and for somehow we missed that. Would you wave? Thank you very much. I'm sorry. If I missed anybody else, I apologize. And if I did, say something to me, because we can get that straightened out real soon. With the Trailblazers, the alumni and who are the alumni and university ambassadors, they assist us in all of our activities, including tonight. Please stand. With those alumni Trailblazers, please. Looks to me that maybe that was a Trailblazer. We also have a number of our Alumni Association Board of Directors with us tonight. With all of the board members of the current board members, please stand and be recognized. And I want to give a special shout out to Mike Padilla, because he came here all the way from Orlando, Florida, to be with us tonight. So he gets that award. You know how they'll go around and say who traveled the furthest? And he's going to get that award tonight. So Mike, thank you for being here and coming all the way from Orlando. We also want to say thanks to all of the past presidents of the Alumni Association. If you are a past president, you'll have a thing on here that I don't have yet, might have one day. If you're a past president of the Alumni Association, would you stand, please? That's quite a group. We want to say thanks to the association's awards committee. So if you're a member of the awards committee who are responsible for the wonderful people we're recognizing tonight, would you please stand? And I don't think I'll ever fail to do this. Our Alumni Association staff is terrific. And if you're a member, if you're one of our Alumni Association staff members, would you please stand? You all do great work, and all of these events, these events don't just happen. And when you have an opportunity I like to thank them every single chance I get. Normally, I would be introducing Chowkey now. I don't know what he was going to say, so I can't give his speech. So what we're going to do is we're going to move right along into another part of the program, which would have followed Chowkey's speech. Joe Baca, the Wes, is the chairman of the UNM Alumni Association Awards Committee. I've known him for a long time, and it gives me great pleasure to say Joe is going to introduce our first award winner tonight.
All right, the difference in heights here. Harold, thank you very much. Now we come to the part of our program where we celebrate and recognize 4 individuals. The first award that I'm going to present is the Faculty Teaching Award. This award recognizes outstanding teaching and services to students. The recipient shall be a faculty member currently employed full-time in any school or college at the University of New Mexico. And we have a past recipient of this award in the audience, and that is Dr. Faroza Jasawala. They wrote it out for me phonetically. Did I get that correct? Dr. Fasawala, there you are. Our 2018 Faculty Teaching Award recipient this evening is Dr. Carl Karlstrom. Now, it might be a difference of opinion, but it could be argued that this year's award recipient, Dr. Carl Karlston, receives this honor due to his puny dad jokes. Now, I don't know what that means. Somebody wrote that for me, but I'm sure that his family, friends, colleagues, and students know what that means. But anyway, the real reason he's receiving the award is the incredible mentorship, dedication, and academic excellence he bestows on his students. Carl's approach to teaching integrates new and relevant research in the science of geology with hands-on in-field training. These real-world experiences of geological fieldwork help to better prepare his students for a career in geology. As a hands-on teacher taking students to new areas, Carl joins in the learning experience, showing students key features as he observes them in the field. Carl formulates interpretations and hypotheses side by side with his students. A major thinker in geosciences, Carl is not afraid to delve into new territory, new analytical techniques, and find partnerships across the geoscience disciplines. By driving the science in new directions, he invigorates science. Debate often fosters new advances in thoughts and techniques to test new ideas or hypotheses. But he is an honest, humorous, caring, and innovative teacher, and we are very proud to present to Carl Karlston, our Faculty Teaching Award. Congratulations, Dr. Karlston.
That was good. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Here you are. You just put it.
Well, thank you very much for that nice award and introduction. Now I have to tell the joke, though. It's a clean joke, and I call it a New Mexico joke. I've been telling it for years, and if you've heard it, I'm sorry, but here's the joke. In this hand, I have one pinon nut, and in this hand, I have two pinon nuts. What have I got? Correct, I have a difference of opinion. So I told you it was a clean joke, and but I want to thank you all for this award. The Alumni Association does so much for our department, Earth and Planetary Sciences. Over the years, it's indescribable. We have scholarships for students from alums. We have money for field trips. We have renovated facilities. We have new microscopes. We have so many things because of alums who look back on their time here and want to give back, and because of the Alumni Association who enables those donations. So if you don't mind, I would like to give a little round of applause to alums and the Alumni Association. It's like Trump at the State of the Union. He was applauding. But the other thanks is due to my family and students over at my table. And actually, if you think about it, students and family are together in my mind. I've supervised 68 graduate students in my 25 years at UNM, and they're all family. And we have representatives from the current students who I look over there and I see more of you than are there, just because you're representing what I think is just a fantastic group of people that I've worked with over the years. It's a collaboration between students and faculty to get through their degree, and also we educate each other. And I want to thank my colleague and co-teacher, Dr. Laura Crossie from Earth and Planetary Sciences. We co-teach a lot of things, so in a sense, she's as deserving or more of this award than I am, so I'm going to share it with her. She's also my wife, for full disclosure. But we co-teach classes from the freshman level to the graduate level, the capstone course, Advanced Field Geology. And this freshman course we teach in the freshman learning communities is the first course students take at UNM, and we've done it for 10 years. And we've had the privilege really of launching some hundreds of students into their UNM programs. We take them to Grand Canyon. We walk on the Trail of Time exhibit, which she and I designed at the rim of the Grand Canyon. We walk them down the canyon, and they come back from that experience, I think, with an enthusiasm for learning and the collegiality of the trip and everything. So the freshman learning communities has been a great thing that's been sponsored by the UNM administration to help ease students from high school into their college program and help them continue on to their program. So that's been a great privilege of ours to teach in that program. Where am I going? Oh, I was going to give you a little synopsis of all the classes I teach. Okay, I won't do that. But a couple of thoughts. Teaching at UNM is a challenge because we have such diversity of abilities and cultures and ways of thinking, ways of learning. And it's an endeavor that we strive to get better at each year, think of ways to do it. And when we were doing our Trail of Time exhibit at Grand Canyon, the park kept telling us, aim at the 8th grade level. And we said, no, we're not going to aim at the 8th grade level. We're going to use this. So we did a little research. We went into the informal science education research and got a term for it. It's called multiple learning hierarchies. And the goal for informal and formal education is to take people from where they are at one learning level and move them to the next learning level. And they don't all start at the same place, and they don't all finish at the same place. But it's been a great philosophy for us for teaching at all levels in the Earth and Planetary Sciences department. The other thing we're so lucky about is we teach geology in the Land of Enchantment. What a beautiful place. We take students out to see the rocks that then encode the history of our Earth. And so it's a place where we can do a good job, I think, of teaching Earth sciences. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention is at Research One institution, students benefit from having faculty who are also doing research. And so I've always tried with my students, even at the freshman level, to give them a glimpse of the frontiers of the science, and the things that excite me about the research enable me to kind of go into classes year after year with enthusiasm for the frontiers of where we're headed. And there's another bad joke, I guess, but in a way, research is to teaching as sin is to confession, right? Because if you don't do the one, you don't have as much to talk about at the other. So thank you very much for this great honor.
You betcha. We're going to have ask all of the awardees and the awarders to come up after the evening, and we'll have our pictures taken and do all that then. I'm going to deviate from the script a teeny bit. I told Jane I was probably going to do that, and Jane helped me put this together. What I wanted to do, I just happened to realize that one of the fun things about this is we have several current UNM students, undergraduates and graduates, with us tonight. Would you stand if you're a current UNM student? Would you please do that for me? And especially want to give a shout out to Noah. Noah's the student body president of the University of New Mexico, and he attends a lot of things and does a lot of things with us and does a great job of it. The next part of this is now, I think this is my part. Oh, I'm sorry. And I also wanted to introduce Lori Moy, who's with us tonight, who is the current chairman of the Foundation, University of New Mexico Foundation Board. And she joined us tonight too. Moving right along. The Erna Ferguson Award shall be given in recognition of exceptional accomplishments or for commitment or distinguished service to the University of New Mexico. The recipient need not be an alumnus of the university. We have 5 past recipients of this award in the audience tonight. Would you stand as I call your name? Joe Baca, John Brown, Steve Sapella, George Freiberg, and Marty Wilson. The 2018 Erna Ferguson Award recipient is Duffy Swan. I think that the esteem with which I hold Duffy should be evident by how much pleasure I'm taking to introduce this old matador, an old hornet introduced this old matador. So that's a big deal for being able to do that. Duffy has dedicated decades of service and commitment to the University of New Mexico and our community, while being a constant example of true leadership, all punctuated with impeccable integrity. The Erna S. Ferguson Award recognizes exceptional accomplishments and distinguished service to the University of New Mexico, which could not be more encompassing of Duffy and his passion for supporting UNM with his talents and his time. His loyalty to the university is very apparent through his involvement in multiple programs, boards, and activities at the university, as well as the selfless service he has given to his alma mater through the years. From cheering the Lobos sports team to victory, to having established the Alumni Association's wildly successful Lobo Living Room program, Duffy leads with compassion and with that great integrity. A true mentor and leader in his community, we are very proud to present Duffy Swan with the Erna S. Ferguson Award tonight. Duffy.
Thank you very much, Harold. Recently, Rod and Marty Wilson and I were reminiscing a little bit about my start at UNM as a freshman oh so long ago. And coming out of high school to this, what seemed massive campus where you needed a map to find your way around and buildings and classes scattered all over, there was a sense of sort of wandering and wobbling during that first year. And as I thought about that, I thought that characteristic also extended right on into my career, right up to the present, because I've had the privilege to work in different business sectors and live and work in different states and different countries. And along the way, there is that sense of wandering and wobbliness that goes along with that. And yet, I've had the privilege to be surrounded by some people, wonderful leaders, mentors, coaches, who have offset that wobbliness to a large degree. And some of them are guests at our table tonight, people like Chet and Diana Stewart, who have modeled the principle of a lifestyle of generosity, and also the critical need for leaders to constantly work on developing their leadership skills. And they put those two together by taking leaders from this community every year to the Global Leadership Summit. Other leaders like Randy Mascarella and Oscar Solis, who are leaders at Special Olympics of New Mexico, who have dedicated themselves for years to helping Special Olympians and their families realize the untapped potential that exists both in the athlete and in the family, in spite of limitations. And then, of course, closer to home, my family, some of whom are here tonight, our youngest daughter, Julie, and her husband, Chris, and our grandson, their son, Joshua, who's an Anderson School grad, I'm happy to report. And then our own Special Olympian, Kirsten, who is the captain of the special cheer team at Manzano. And through her eyes, all of us have learned to see life in very unconditional and wonderful ways. And I think what I see in this part of my family is what it means to be there for one another, and to be there for her 24/7 and how important that is. And at the core, the heart, the base for me is the bride of my youth, my high school sweetheart, Jean Ann, who from day one has modeled what Proverbs 31 talks about as an excellent wife. And a part of that reads, an excellent wife, who can find? Her worth is far above jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She has been that to me from day one to the very present. And so, wobble though I do, wander though I do, people like this, my family, colleagues, and friends, have offset that. I often marvel that God writes straight with these wobbly lines of mine, and I believe he does it through people like these. And I receive this award tonight in honor of him and in honor of them. Thank you very much.
When I introduced the former Ferguson Award winners, I left off actually one of my absolute favorite people. For a while, we were sending him his past president's emails to his son, and I don't know exactly why that ended up being that way, but John Salazar is also a former and a Ferguson Award winner, so if we could recognize him as well. Sorry about that, I got a little bit too far ahead here. The Bernard S. Rhodey Award shall be given to those persons who have devoted an unusual amount of time in a leadership capacity and whose efforts have contributed significantly to the field of education. We have a past recipient of this award in the audience, Jim Hulsman. Jim, Coach, where are you? If I know the statistics correctly, the winningest coach in the history of Albuquerque High School and one of the top winners in the state of New Mexico. Coach, nice to have you with us tonight. We had this thing all kind of put together, and I got a call. I actually got a note early in the week that from Jamie Roybal, and Jamie said, "My favorite teacher in the world was Dr. Wilcox." And she said, "May I introduce her?" And I said, "You certainly can." Jamie's she's one of our youngest members of the board of directors of the Alumni Association, and I take great pleasure in introducing her to you for this part of the program.
Good evening, everyone. The Bernard S. Rhodey Award shall be given to those persons who have devoted an unusual amount of time in a leadership capacity and whose efforts have contributed significantly to the field of education. The 2018 Bernard S. Rhodey Award recipient is Dr. Phyllis Perrin Wilcox. And I'd like to tell you all a little bit about how I know Phyllis. 8 years ago, I was accepted into the university's esteemed sign language interpreting program, one of the very best programs of its kind in the country. And I was fortunate to be mentored and trained and supported every step of the way by the visionary and architect of that program herself, Dr. Phyllis Wilcox. Now, to say to you all that Phyllis is my most cherished undergraduate professor, who really changed my professional trajectory and frankly my entire outlook on life, would be a tremendous understatement. She has supported every professional adventure of mine since the day that I met her, and so it's truly a special full circle moment for me this evening to be able to introduce her, as she is recognized for her extraordinary work at UNM. So let me tell you about her. Dr. Phyllis Wilcox is said to be a born educator, incredible mentor, and a humble trailblazer in laying the groundwork to setting standards of excellence in the field of sign language interpreting. Now, Phyllis has worked endlessly to establish and expand the sign language interpreting program at UNN from a certification program to a bachelor's degree. And it is her tireless work that has created access to communication for deaf and hard of hearing people across the state of New Mexico, which includes access to interpreting services for all levels of education. Now, with the utmost kindness, integrity, intelligence, and uncompromising morals, Phyllis has overcome adversity with strength and courage and grace to make a difference in the lives of students at the University of New Mexico and members of the deaf and hard of hearing community across this state. We are so very proud to present Dr. Phyllis Perrin Wilcox with the Bernard S. Rohde Award.
Beautiful. Thank you. Hello. I'm grateful to be up here. My mother is 95 years old. She lives in Louisiana. She's a bit witty. I told her about this award tonight. And I added, oh dear, they want me to say a few words. She emailed me back. There's no such thing as a free lunch. But mother's proud of me. She knows the struggles that the interpreting program went through to be established. In 1971, I taught a non-degree, no credit, sign language class to 8 students. The ensuing years were filled with what we call frustrated challenges. This year, we have more than 1,000 students registered, and our program is accredited. It's something that we're very proud of. It would be remiss of me if I didn't mention that Dr. Joel Jones, who was a recipient of this award, was the administrator who helped set up the interpreting program. Let me step back and thank the people at my tables tonight. They each played a part in developing or teaching in the sign language interpreting program. I'm honored by their dedication and enthusiasm, and I thank each of them for their work. When I first heard about this award, I thought of Rohde Theater. And I thought Rohde must be someone connected with contemporary music or the fine arts. Later, I learned that Bernard S. Rohde was responsible for supporting legislation that created the University of New Mexico. And I'm doubly honored to receive this award. I want to thank the UNM Alumni Association for this tribute. It's a pleasure to be in this position tonight. Thank you.
We'll keep it here, yeah. That's right, I think you ought to have it. Our next presenter is the president-elect of the Alumni Association, John Brown, and he will take over for this moment.
Let's see here. So the James F. Zimmerman Award shall be given to an alum of the University of New Mexico who has made a significant contribution which has brought fame and honor to the University of New Mexico or to the state of New Mexico. And we actually have a past recipient of the award in the audience, David Campbell. One of the really neat things about getting involved in the Alumni Association over the past couple of years has been that I've had an opportunity to learn more and more about the University of New Mexico, and in particular just what I call some of the nuggets and some of the most wonderful things and people that are part of this university, which I don't think a lot of people are totally aware of. And clearly, one of those truly amazing people that make up the University of New Mexico community is this year's Zimmerman Award recipient, Joy Harjo. Joy is an internationally known for her dedication and work in striving to bring justice and equality to all people through her powerful poetry, writing, and music. She has published 8 award-winning books of poetry. Her prose draws upon Native American storytelling and histories, as well as feminist and social justice poetic transitions, and frequently incorporates indigenous myths, symbols, and values in her writing. Her writing has received many notable honors, including this prestigious Ruth Lilly Prize from the Poetry Foundation for Lifetime Achievement, the Wallace Stevens Award from the Academy of American Poets, the Guggenheim, the New Mexico Governor's Award for Excellence in Arts, and many, many more. Not only did Joy earn her bachelor's degree from UNM, but she returned to her alma mater to nurture and empower the next generation of Native American writers by teaching in the Creative Writing Program. Joy has also taught at the Taos Summer Writers Conference. Poet, teacher, saxophonist, and singer, we're very proud to present Joy Harjo with the James F. Zimmerman Award. Nice meeting you. Terrific.
Well, it's an honor to be up here and to be honored by an institution that I've always considered my home. Because it's from this place that, and this land, because the land has everything to do with who we are, with how we think and how we move about the world. And so New Mexico has been a major part of my trajectory and my work. In 1968, I graduated from the Institute of American Indian Arts and wandered about a bit. And in 1970, I had come back to Santa Fe from Oklahoma and was working at St. Vincent's Hospital and decided I would go into pre-med. So I went to the 8 Northern Pueblos talent search. Someone turned me onto them, and they, Ramos Suina and Joe Abeda, and they helped me because at that point I didn't know if I was going to go to the university, where was the front door? You know, it was like that. I didn't know. And they brought me here and helped me get into school. And I found a great community in teachers in Kiva Club. I was part of the Native Student Club, and we did a lot of work within the communities. And I spent 1 semester as a pre-med major, and then I was back in the art studio, and then I took David Johnson's poetry class. I think is at English 222 or something like that. David Johnson is right here. He was my first poetry teacher. And he's a UNM, I guess, emeritus. And that I never thought I would be a poet, or with language. I always sat in the back of the classroom and didn't say anything. But it was about learning about the power of words, about communication, because that's at the root of what every one of us does in here, in one way or the other. It's about learning to communicate, and that's why humanities is very important, and writing is very important. But he became, his teaching was, he has an open heart, he knows his stuff very well, and he was inspirational, and he inspired not just me, but many others. And then I came back to teach. I came back here and taught, and I have one of my students here. I was her first poetry teacher, Deborah Holland here, who's running for Congress. One thing that, and so I told her, well, we were talking together, and I said, well, meet your poetry grandfather. Because isn't that the way it is? We all have ancestors. It doesn't, if it's geology, there are geology ancestors, and then it always goes back to the stones, you know, the rocks themselves. Those are our relatives. And the same thing it is with poetry. There are many poetry ancestors. I have poetry ancestors in my tribe. There's, you know, we all have poetry ancestors. We all have, in whatever our field is. And one thing that David did was that he took us as students, and it's something I learned from him, is that it's about, whatever we do as teachers, it's about involving, it's about sharing in the community, in the field, and putting your students in places of excellence. So he took us, I remember a trip he took several of us students on, and I won a second prize. I won a second place. The first place winner was Yusuf Komanyaka, who won the Pulitzer Prize later, and he had just gotten out of the military. But that's part of it, and that's part of what we do. And then Deborah reminded me, and I had forgotten that I took her to it was the largest gathering of Native writers ever, and I took her there, and she did her first poetry reading. So it continues that way. My daughter, Rainey Ortiz over here, is also a UNM alumni. She also attended the University of New Mexico. But, so it gets passed on that way, and it goes on and on. And I know at times I wasn't sure I was going to make it. I was a mother, a single mother, and so on, but there was something about this place. I came back to this place because it represents to me, and it has always represented to me, home. It's here I took Navajo language. It's here I started writing poetry and found and found my way in the world. And so this place and this institution and these lands are absolutely crucial to what was given to me to do, to share with the world. So UNM is always part of what I do. So I want to say, and my grandchildren are here. They inspire me. They're all very artistic. These are only some of them. And and my husband, Owen Sepulpa over here, inspires me. I met him in 1974, but not here at UNM, yeah, the National Indian Youth Council. Anyway, it's an honor to receive this award, and I feel like I'm receiving it on behalf of all my teachers and the spirit of poetry, who one day when I was a student and I wasn't sure I was going to make it for a number of reasons, and the poetry spirit came over to me and said, well, you're coming with me. I'm saying, yeah, but I want to be a painter, because I was painting really cool things. And, and I liked what I was doing, and I didn't have to talk. But the poetry spirit said, you need to learn how to speak. And most of all, you need to learn how to listen. So you're going with me. And so thank you, Mado, as we say in the Muskogee language, Mado, Mado, Mado. And thank you for the Alumni Association for this honor and my family.
Thank you, Joy. Truly a New Mexico treasure. I was reminded by what she said about the rocks and about what Carl said about his teaching. I took a freshman class in 1964. I took Geology 101. I think that I remember that. That was a long time ago. But what I remember most about it is, you're talking about the rocks. I grew up in Aztec, Raton, and then Albuquerque. And I've been around these rocks that you can see all my life, and didn't have any particular. I hate to say this. You realize how sensitive you realize how sensitive I am. I hate to say this, but I had no appreciation for what I was seeing. Well, this freshman class was taught by a guy from the East, who had grown up apparently in a place where you couldn't see rocks, and he took the class out the first day, and I've never seen anyone so excited to take us out. I think we went towards, I know we went to a mesa. I just remember a mesa where you could see all the layers, red, green, blue, whatever the colors were up and down. And this guy was like out of his mind how awesome this was to be able to see these things. So I appreciate your reference to the rocks, and I appreciate what you guys do, because that really, in New Mexico, we are a rock, and I kind of like that. I want to remind each of the award recipients and the awarders, please come up at the front. We're going to actually move this so that we can not have to have the podium in the way. And we're going to take some pictures. If you'll please do that for us, I'd be really appreciated. Now what we're going to do is you're going to sing the alma mater. You don't want me to sing the alma mater. I can carry 4 notes, and they don't work in this one. The 2 young women who led us earlier are going to come up and lead us in the alma mater. If you look at your program, if you'll open up the first page and go to the bottom of the second page, if you don't know the words, I could play with you, but I don't know them by heart. So if you don't know the words, please stand up and join in. And when we finish singing the alma mater, we'll be done. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate everyone being here tonight, and how I think I'm going to get the record for the shortest show.
All right. New Mexico, New Mexico, we sing to honor thee. The golden haze of college days will live in memory. This breeze
Thank you. Thank everybody for being here tonight. Thanks, guys. I would read them.